Hello everyone, this is Ben Robson. I'm going to tell you a story of the greatest legend of Rome, Maximus. In this really long video, I'll tell you about an emperor whose brother named Commandos, with head filled with jealousy, dethroned him until he became a hero and went on to save Rome and overthrow his brother. But if you want to read it to yourself, you can either turn off a volume or pause the video. And if you want to take a break, you can add it to watch later list. So sit back, get yourself comfy, and enjoy the story. Long ago, in a faraway land called Rome, there lived a ruler by the name of Marcus Aurelius. Marcus had two sons named Maximus and Commandos, and a daughter named Lucilla. Maximus Prime Aurelius was the oldest, with a heart as good as gold, and he was to be emperor after his father. Commandos was the middle-born. He was a bit ambitious, and as far as he was concerned, his life would be complete only if he became the ruler of Rome. Lucilla was the youngest. She's very polite and thought Maximus would make a great ruler when his time came. One day, Marcus became old and thought it was time to pass on his reign. He arranged for everybody to gather around to witness the coronation of Maximus. In his speech, "My people, thank you all for coming to the kingdom of Rome. Since I am old and my reign is coming to a close, one of my children will take my place as your new emperor. Before I start, let me introduce you Maximus, Commandos, and Lucilla, the three Aureliuses." To close his speech, Marcus said, "Naturally, Maximus will be the new emperor. He is the oldest and wisest with the heart of gold." Everybody cheered for Emperor Maximus, except for his brother Commandos. After the announcement, they were having a coronation party with lots of nice foods like fruit, roast chicken, roast pig, beef ribs, fresh fish, and many more wonderful things to eat. Maximus says, "This is amazing, Father. Thank you for giving me the crown to become emperor." Marcus says, "You are eternally welcome, my son." At the party, Maximus met Roxana for the first time. He says, "Hello, Roxana. Nice to meet you." Roxana says, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you too. My name is Roxana." Maximus says, "My name is Maximus. I have been crowned as Emperor of Rome." Roxana says, "Oh, that's amazing. Shall we talk at the balcony? It will be a good view of Rome." Maximus says, "Yes, why not?" So Emperor Maximus and Princess Roxana stood at a balcony. Maximus says, "Isn't it a great view of Rome, Roxana?" Roxana says, "Yes, I can stare at it all day." "Me too. So what have you been up to before we met?" "I'm the princess from a land far from Rome. I have 4 sisters, and one of them is crowned as queen. Because she's the oldest, she thought I could come here and maybe I could be a suitor for you." "Oh, that's wonderful." Now Maximus thought to tell Roxana more about himself. "I was a prince once, and I have a brother and a sister. Well, I haven't seen my brother at the party, or in fact since my father named me as his successor." "Is something wrong with your brother?" "I don't know, but I will ask him how he is doing. But my sister's having a nice time at the coronation party." "What are their names?" "Commandos, my brother, and Lucilla, my sister." Nice names." "Yes." Maximus thought that an alliance between Rome and Roxana's kingdom would be a good thing, and so decided to accept Roxana as his suitor. And he proposed. Maximus bent his knee and took Roxana's hand in his and said, "Roxana, will you be my Empress of Rome?" Roxana smiled and says, Yes, Emperor Maximus, I will be your empress. Oh, you make me so much happy. Maximus and Roxana laughed happily and embraced. I must take you to meet my father. Maximus and Roxana went to see Marcus. Maximus says, Father, I have chosen a suitor to be my empress. Marcus says, Oh, that is wonderful, son. Who is this? This is Roxana. Hello, my lord. It is a great honor to meet you. Marcus was so pleased for his son to have chosen a wife as beautiful as Roxana. And he said, I think it's wonderful to have Roxana as your empress, son. Maximus and Roxana says, Thank you. Then they went back inside and Maximus said to everybody, My people, I need your attention for an announcement. I, Emperor Maximus, choose Princess Roxana as my empress. Rome and Roxana's kingdom will be joined in alliance. Everybody cheered for the emperor and empress. Lucina was so pleased that brother chose a wife and she said, Congratulations, Maximus. Then she said to Roxana, I am delighted you are his empress, Roxana of Rome. I'm so happy for you both. Roxana says, Thank you so much, Lucilla. It's wonderful to have you as my sister. Lucilla says, Why, thank you. Oh, Maximus, I wish Commandos was here. Maximus says, I know. I promise I will have a word with him after the party. But for now, let us enjoy the celebration. So Maximus, his love Roxana, his father and sister, and all present sat for dinner together. Let the feast begin! After the party, somewhere in the isolated tower in Rome, there was Maximus's unhappy brother, Commandos. He was very disappointed because his father chose Maximus as the next emperor instead of him, but he was the middle-born of Marcus and therefore could not take a throne. One day he was sitting down on the settee and said to himself, Life is not fair. I will never become emperor. Maximus came to his room and asked, Commandos, brother, Lucille and I couldn't see you at the party. Is something wrong? Commandos stood up and said, My mind is in a muddle. That's why I couldn't manage to join you today. I feel so awful. Lucilla says, You've been in this room all day. Things in the coronation could have gone better if you were around as the emperor's brother. We just want to be there for you. Commando says, I need no help from anybody. I was the middle-born, so I would never be emperor, and father always favoured you over me. Maximus says, No, it's not like that. Father doesn't just favour me. He don't really understand. He loved all of us, which means he loved you too. Why don't you come with us? Maybe you need some fresh air. Commando says, I suppose you're right. Maybe tell father how you feel during the coronation day. I'm sure he can give you and Lucilla some duties. As you wish, and one more thing from me to you. Long live the Emperor. As he walked off, Lucilla sighed and said, I don't know what you can do with him. I'm still concerned about him. I'm sure he'll be fine. I hope father knows how he's feeling. A while later, Commandos went to see his father's bust. It was a very nice bust. He touched it and said, Oh, father, if only I could tell you how I feel because of Maximus being emperor and not me. Commandos then went to see his father at the balcony. He began to say, Father, I have come to see you. Marcus says, Commandos, so there you are. Yes. Marcus sees the look on his son's face and said, Is something troubling you, Commandos? I always wanted to be emperor, but you chose to let Maximus take the crown and throne, and thus Rome does not want me. Marcus put his hand on Commandos' shoulder for comfort, but he turned away and wouldn't let him. Do my decisions disappoint you? I suppose so. We have brought peace, justice, fortitude, and temperance to a recent generation of Rome together as four of us. You, me, brother and sister, and even mother. Of course. We brought all of this together. We will always be for the Republic and democracy. Commander says, but then today, now that Maximus rules the Empire, his voice starts to break. You decide not to have me as a son. No, please do not say that. You have gone too far. Too far, I say. Commander started to sob and said, I've never been so doubtful of myself and my Potter's family. I always wanted to make you proud, just like you made your father proud. Why does Rome hate me so much? All I ever wanted was to do something great for the land, just like you. Marcus went down to his knees and said, Commandos, we all have doubts from time to time, but any faults you have are of my doing. They are my failure, not yours. Come, let us embrace. Commandos cried again and hugged his father. Then he said, Father, oh Father, I will butter the whole world. If only you will let me. He picked up Marcus with both of his hands and started to do something terrible. Marcus says, No, son, wait, what are you doing? Don't do this to me. Commandos said, Long live the Emperor! Commandos held his father Marcus off the balcony and watched as he fell to his death. Commandos walked off and decided a plan that he would do next. Did you hear something? I don't know what it is. Commandos went to see the guards and tell them what happened to his father. Prince Commandos, what's the matter, my lord? Commandos deceived the guards, saying, My brother Emperor Maximus has done something terrible to my father. The guards were shocked. At this time, Maximus was relaxing in the throne room. He was hoping that his father would help Commandos, maybe give him some duties, so that he could feel part of this new era. The guards saw him and dragged him off the throne and said, Emperor Maximus, your brother needs to talk to you. The guards took Maximus to see Commandos. Commandos says, Maximus, what have you done? Maximus says, Commandos, what is going on? And why are the guards dragging me away? Unhand me, I say! Commandos says, Our great father is dead, and it is all thanks to you. Maximus was shocked to hear that Marcus was dead. How could this be? He started to feel Commandos was involved, and he was being framed. Commandos says, What will our sister think? What will Rome think? Maximus says, Commandos, I didn't do anything. Do not lie to me, brother! What has happened? The guards, believing Commandos, knew what happened, and Rome should never allow Maximus to rule as emperor. Guards, take him away. He is guilty. He must be removed from this land and serve his punishment. The guard says, Yes, sir. The guards took Maximus far away from Rome. After they left, Lucilla came to see Commandos and asked what happened. Lucilla says, Commandos, where's Maximus? And I can't even find father anywhere. Lucilla, my sister, I'm sorry to tell you this, but what is it? Father and Maximus have been murdered. I couldn't save them. I was too late. Lucilla gasped in horror, and she dropped to her knees and wept. Commandos showed pity to poor Lucilla. Then he turned his head away with a smile on his face as he thought of his brother's fate. Maximus was put in a carriage and taken away to serve his punishment for the crimes he was supposed to have committed. Maximus felt pained by his father's death and his brother's accusations against him. He started to feel so angry. He said, "I don't believe this is happening." Person driving the carriage says, "Keep quiet!" Maximus sighed miserably. The carriage was taking Maximus to Zugaba, a Roman province where he would be sold as a slave. So, they finally arrived, and the carriage driver got Maximus out of a bag and took him to a slave market. Maximus saw other slaves being sold. He was shocked. How could this be happening to him? Carriage driver says, "I got a slave for you." Slave seller says, "Ah, splendid. A criminal, I suppose, what he has done?" Carriage driver says, "Yes, he murdered his father when he was in Rome. His brother kicked him out, and that is why he is here at the slave market." "Indeed. I'll give you 40 pieces of silver for him." Yes. So the driver sold Maximus to a slave seller and says, "He'll be just fine. He will serve you well." That evening, just as the marketplace was closing, things became very quiet. The slaves slept, but Maximus wasn't tired. He sat awake watching the sunset. He was still feeling very miserable. He was missing his home, his empire and family. This was not a life he was used to. He found a spot to lie down and tried to get to sleep. He would need to rest to cope with events of the following day. On that same evening in Rome, Commandos told everyone in the throne room what had happened, with miserable Lucilla standing next to him, and he said, "My father died in my hands, and it was a horrible tragedy. By the hand of my brother Maximus. I did what I could to try to save my father, but his wounds were too severe." The people were very sad to hear the news of Emperor Maximus and Marcus. Roxana cried over the loss of her love. "As my father died in my arms, he made me promise to look after the empire and take the crown instead of the murderer Maximus." Lucilla handed Commandos the crown. "Father Marcus and brother Maximus are gone, which means now I am your emperor." Commandos placed the crown on top of his head and said, "Rome will be reorganized. We should all look forward to a great and magnificent future." The people bowed down to their new emperor, except for Roxana, who was heartbroken. She missed Maximus so much. Roxana went outside to look up at the stars and the moon and prayed. She said, "Oh, Maximus, may the gods watch over you and your father." She dropped to her knees and sobbed. Maximus woke early with the sunrise along with all the other slaves. The merchant opened his shop and prepared the slaves for sale. Maximus hoped to have someone buy him that would one day help him return to Rome. It was very hot and the slaves were thirsty. They had not been given water yet. As the morning wore on, the crowd began to gather at the slavers. In the crowd looking to buy a new slave was Saxonator. Saxonator says, "Hello, I'm here to buy myself a fighting slave." Merchant says, "Ah, yes, of course. May I have your name, please?" Saxonator says, "My name is Saxonator." The merchant says, "Here they are waiting to be purchased. You can take your pick." Saxonator looked at all the slaves, then his gaze returned to Maximus. Maximus overheard Saxonator was looking for a fighting slave, so he stood tall and made himself look strong. Saxonator turned to a slaver while pointing at Maximus and asked, "Who's that?" Maximus looked at Saxonator and said, "I am healthy and strong. I will serve you well." Saxonator heard what he said, and he offered a price for Maximus. The slave seller opened up Maximus's cage and gives him to Saxonator. Saxonator gave a seller 59 pieces of gold. The merchant says, "Thank you so much, Sir Saxonator. He's your slave now." Saxonator says, "Thank you so much. Come on then." Maximus was so pleased that he was free from the cage. Maximus says, "Thank you so much for having me." Saxonator says, "Don't thank me yet. I'm taking you home and you have yet to prove yourself." Maximus knew if he did well in the fighting pit, he could earn his freedom. Then he could return to Rome, where he would expose his brother and become emperor again. Saxonator took Maximus to his home somewhere in the valley close by. "Here we are. This is to be your home now." "Oh, what a great house you have." "Thank you so much. I'm taking you to my shed, which is where you will sleep, and tomorrow you start to compete as my gladiator warrior." "Is it true that if I do well in the arena, I could earn my freedom? I need to return to Rome." "If Rome was your home, you can forget that. This is your home now." Maximus was still feeling sad and thinking about his family and Rome. "Oh, come on, lad, stop sulking. I need you to be strong. I had a difficult day yesterday." "Oh, what happened yesterday?" Maximus told Saxonator about what happened when he was thrown out of Rome and was taken here as a slave. Then he said, "That's when you saved my life." "Whoa, so are you saying you are the rightful ruler of Rome? I think we need to attend to your thirst. Let's get you some cool water." "Thank you. You're very kind, Saxonator." Saxonator says, "Maybe you were emperor, but now you are my slave, so you'll be housed in the shed." Maximus was left in the shed with some drinking water. Maximus says, "Oh, that is so refreshing." Saxonator says, "Yeah, I have 2 friends of mine coming over to my house tomorrow. They are brothers named Roman and Troy. They are coming to watch you fight and to see what you are made of." "Okay, I won't disappoint them." The following day, in the late afternoon, Roman and Troy came to Saxonator's house and brought some haggis and melon bead. Saxonator opened the door and says, "The Roman and the Troy, great to see you. Please come in." "Hello, Saxonator. Pleasure to meet you. We brought haggis for all of us." Saxonator started to salivate and said, "Ooh, yes, I love the smell of haggis. It's my favorite." And says, "Oh, I bought a slave. He will be fighting for me in the arena tomorrow. Ooh, I'd like to see him. He's in my shed. Okay, but let's eat first. I am starving, and the haggis looks amazing." Saxonator, Roman and Troy were sat at a table with haggis, melon bead, and water for their dinner together. "We paid good money to buy this. Delicious haggis has such a strong taste. So, what have you been up to today?" "Well, I bought this slave I told you about. He's the one in the shed." "Ooh, what's he like?" "He told me a story. He supposedly killed the emperor, who is his father. True or not, he looks strong and could easily manage heavy armor in the arena. He wants to earn his freedom, as you both did." "Ah, fantastic. I remember when Troy and I used to live as gladiator slaves in a place where we were called Shiru and Motu. Motu means chunky. Shiru means tiger. We changed our names when we won our freedom." "Well, what I was saying was I am hoping my slave would be a great warrior. A magnificent gladiator. A warrior who can fight against lions, tigers, bears. Oh my. He will make me a lot of money and maybe earn his freedom. And if his story is true, he'll be the warrior to fight against enemies of Rome. Yes, I just can't wait to see the fight tomorrow. Okay, but now let's eat." It was getting late and time for Roman and Troy to leave. They would see Saxonator and Maximus tomorrow at the arena. See you tomorrow, lads, and thank you for haggis and bead. So yummy. You're welcome, Sax. Have a good night. Saxonator shut the door and said, tomorrow we'll see my slave, a great warrior, and I will be rich. He went upstairs to his bed and fell into a sleep filled with dreams of great victories. Maximus, who was in the shed, was feeling better, having had some water. He looked out of the window and up at the stars and the moon. I wish I was back home in Rome. Roxana will be worried about me. He also missed his sister too, who would also be worried. Eventually, he drifted off to sleep. Morning came and Maximus was in deep sleep, until a bucket of water was thrown over his head. It was Saxonator, and he said, "Giddy up, time slave, drinking time too." Maximus woke up soaked and wet as he groaned, Why is it? Oh, it's you. Aye, it's me. I am putting your armor on because we're getting ready to fight in the arena. Oh, hello. Why did you wake me up like that? No time to explain. Let's get you dressed in armor and ready for battle. Alright. Maximus rose to his feet and started to dress in his armor. Maximus was all suited up, and Saxonator says, "Ooh, yes! You look so good!" Thanks. So, what happens next? We go to the arena, and we'll watch you fight. Saxonator took Maximus to the arena, where he would join other warriors. Here we go, Maximus. You are ready with the other gladiators to face whatever is thrown at you. Maximus stood up straight with the other warriors by his side and said, "Well, here we go. Let's hope we survive this battle." The baboons and lions were inside the enclosure by the edge of the arena. Saxonator, Roman and Troy were sitting together with the spectators. "I'm loving this part! Me too! Can't wait to see my boys slash the beasts." The arena owner says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I brought the great warriors to be tested against the beasts." The spectators cheered loudly. "And now I will open the gates to release these powerful, hungry, thirsty predators." The gates opened and the baboons raced to destroy the warriors, including Maximus. Maximus and the slave warriors fought with the bloodthirsty baboons. There were swords slashing and stabbing. There was bleeding, biting, punching and kicking. A large baboon attacked the fighter, who was chained together with Maximus. The chain broke, and then Maximus sliced up the baboon's head. The audience cheered loudly, but the fight was not over yet. More gates opened for the lions. The lions ran around planning to eat the warriors. "Come on, lad." Maximus used his sword and managed to kill one lion that was intent on eating him alive. He slashed the lion, opening a wound on its shoulder. The lion's name was Claudius, and he growled at Maximus. Maximus growled back at him. They both faced each other in fury. Claudius slashed at Maximus's chest, but his armor protected him from the sharp claws. His eyes lit up with fury as he slammed his body and armor onto Claudius's wounded shoulder. The lion lunged at him, and Maximus blocked a bite with his spear. Then he managed to push the lion away. Roman and Troy were getting nervous while watching. Maximus ran to recover a dropped sword. Claudius was about to attack. As he lunged, Maximus thrust his sword forward, and it found its mark. Claudius slumped on top of Maximus. Saxonator, Roman and Troy were concerned about Maximus. They saw the lion move, but it was Maximus climbing from underneath the beast. Maximus had prevailed, and Claudius was no more. Everybody cheered as Maximus held his sword high and shouted in victory. Following the battle, the spectators, including Roman and Troy, carried Maximus on their shoulders. Saxonator was so proud of him and said, "You did it, Maximus! You're a slave no more! You're a great warrior, and you have won your freedom. Thank you, Saxonator. I'm so grateful you gave me this chance. Maximus was no longer a slave anymore. In fact, he was treated like a famous Roman hero. A hero party took place that afternoon, with Maximus sitting in the middle. Roman drank a whole chalice of wine, with it slopping around his mouth. Roman, what are you doing? I am drinking wine. Oh, it's so delicious. I just want to swill it down in one gulp. Let me have some, please. Sure. Troy took a big gulp too and said, "Ah, yes, it is so good." Saxonator says, "So, what do you say you have some of my haggis tonight?" "I'd love that." Then he stood up holding his chalice high and said, "I pronounce a toast to all of you. Thank you for being so kind and making me a free man. Thanks to my new good friend Saxonator, we are safe from the mighty beasts I defeated." Everybody says, "To the power of Maximus! 3 cheers!" Maximus sat back down again, and he and his companions enjoyed a feast together. Meanwhile, things were not looking well in the Roman Empire. The weather was dull, and life at the people was bleak. However, things were very different for Emperor Komnenos, sitting at a table with his people eating dinner together. Komnenos had a plate of a whole roasted chicken and took a bite of the leg. He was so happy that he got rid of his older brother and took his reign off him. His family ate with him and his command, but inside they were distraught without Maximus, who was the rightful emperor, especially Lucilla. She came to a dining room, looking at the huge excess of food. She couldn't help but feel sad that the common people were starving. Komnenos says, "Come and join us for dinner, sister. There's plenty for you to enjoy." Lucilla says, "Komnenos, why is there so much food on the table when the people go hungry? The people of the street are well-minded to give us our food. How perfect is this? Are you not concerned for your people? Those peasants have what they need, and we take what we want. We can have whatever we want for our family. What do you mean, we?" "Lucilla, shut up and sit down with me and eat. Now." "I'd rather starve like our people." "Very well. From now on, I will eat all of your food as well, leaving you to pick off bones." Lucilla sighed and walked away, feeling sad. Demetrius, who was the advisor, saw this and muttered under his breath, "Oh, poor lass. I felt the same way too. The whole emperor will not be the same without Maximus." Komnenos was shocked and said, "What did you say?" I was just talking to myself. I was only muttering some nonsense, sire." "I heard what you said. Speaking out against me is to break the laws of my empire." He stormed to Demetrius' seat and wiped his dinner off the table and said, "Your dinner time is over. I will sentence you to death for mentioning that name in my presence. Guards, we are taking him to the execution block." Guard says, "Yes, your majesty." The emperor and his guards took Demetrius to the execution block. Demetrius was taken to a courtyard and tied up in front of a post. He would be shot and killed by archers. Komnenos said to him, "So, this is your last hour of your life, thanks to your fatal mistake by mentioning the name of the brother who is ex-emperor. Now is a time for you to die, you disgraceful fool." Demetrius says, "Your Majesty, please, give me another chance. I'll do anything for you. Just anything." "I'm truly sorry, but you've gone too far today. Now I will make an announcement to those watching and to those who would execute you." He said to the archer commander, "Demetrius has been disrespectful towards me and broke the law by mentioning my brother's name. Besides, he was the one who was exiled after taking my poor father's life. Now, before we start," he said to Demetrius, "do you have any final words before your time has come?" Demetrius took a deep breath. "You were never good at ruling Rome. Not ever. I believe I am. It is time. Archers, fire! The archers shot their arrows at Demetrius, aiming for his heart. Komnenos took a deep breath and he said, "So, that is what happens to those who speak out against me. Now he has travelled to the afterlife, where he will meet my father. For those who would commit treason against me, think again, as this will be your fate." Lucilla, on hearing this, was shocked, and she held her throat, feeling anxiety watch over her. She didn't want to die next. Komnenos came to see her, and Lucilla says, "What is going on?" "The deed is done for Demetrius, who broke my law. He should have known better. He said our brother's name. I don't want you to end up like him." He pulled Lucilla's mane and said, "I'm going to grab you by the mane, and you will say what I say. Emperor Komnenos will always rule." "Please, you hurry me." "Say it!" "Emperor Komnenos will always rule." Komnenos released her and walked away. Lucilla, who was feeling miserable, went to a balcony and see Roxana. Roxana says, "Lucilla, are you alright?" "No, not at all. I know I am feeling the same way. Komnenos is so cruel. Yes, he is nothing like Maximus. Nothing compared to Maximus. But he's still my brother." "Of course he is. But he's been driven mad with power. And he just can't handle the responsibility. I mean, Roxana, don't let Komnenos hear you say that name. Otherwise he'll be punished." "Alright, we must find a way to set things right. Only your older brother can take Komnenos' place as emperor because he's the oldest. I hope we can make it so." Komnenos appeared up and said, "Ah, well done, Lucilla. I see you have a suitor for me." "No, Roxana, I didn't mean to." "It's alright. I'm not afraid of him. Go on for now. I can manage this." "Okay." Lucilla walks away. Komnenos says, "So, Roxana, are you ready to take your place by my side?" "Komnenos, everything's in a complete chaos." "Nonsense, my dearest. I have requests for you. Take my hand, kiss my hand, and together you and I will rule Rome forever." Roxana took Komnenos' hand and bit it hard. "Ah! Ha! 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 Oh! 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 Roxana, Roxana, Roxana. That's very naughty. You really have no choice. In this matter, you will be mine. Let's try again, but not here. In the throne room for all to see." "Fine." In the throne room, the Mad Emperor addressed the people. "Let you all bear witness. I choose Roxana as my empress, and I reject you. Pardon? I will not be your empress. You will either be my empress or be forever banished from Rome." "Don't you dare banish me." "Take her away, if you please." "Komnenos, stop. Did you hear me?" "No." "Take her away. Now. Don't just stand there. I am the emperor. You must do as I say." Roxana, Lucilla, and the rest were most upset with this turn of events. Komnenos says, "So, do you think this is a game? Insurrection? Is that what it is? I do not respect your opinions." Roxana and I need one last word with each other, please. "As you wish." Lucilla and Roxana decide upon a plan. Roxana would flee Rome and get away from Komnenos. Together, they packed supplies for her journey. She would travel to a faraway place to make a new life for herself. Lucilla hugged Roxana and said, "I know you will be fine now. Quickly, you must go." "Goodbye, Roxana." Roxana left the palace, leaving Lucilla sobbing with grief. In the morning, Maximus woke up in the spare bedroom Saxonator gave him. He dressed and took a walk around the village. It was a lovely day and the sun was shining. The villagers saw Maximus and waved to him. "Hello, Maximus." Maximus says, "Good morning. It's nice to see you all." The lady saw him and said, "It's Maximus. He's so dreamy. I want to hug him and kiss him." The kid saw him and says, "Wow, it's Maximus. He's our hero." Maximus says, "Hey there, kids. Glad to see you too." Everyone loved a hero like him. He told everyone that they could join him for a walk around the village. Saxonator saw him and said, "He seems to be enjoying himself in the village." During his walk around the village, he bumped into another person in a crowd of people. He tripped and fell. Maximus apologized, explaining it was an accident. He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you—" The person Maximus accidentally bumped into was Roxana. "Roxana?" Roxana says, "Who are you?" "It's me, Maximus." Roxana recognized Maximus and was so happy to see him again. Maximus was surprised to see her so far from Rome. They both hugged. Maximus says, "It's so good to see you again." Roxana says, "It's so amazing to see you too. What on earth are you dressed as?" "Some Roman warrior guy." "I see." "What are you doing here?" "I just want to get away from Commandos. He wanted me to be his bride." "What were you doing here?" "I was banished here and left to fight for my freedom in the arena. This is a lovely place. Walk with me. I have so much to tell you." Maximus showed Roxana around the village. They walked through grasslands and by a beautiful river. The birds were singing in the sun. They walked through some woodlands and stopped by the riverbank. Cupping their heads, they drank together out of the river. Then they took rest sitting in the shade of a large oak tree. Their love was blossoming. Roxana says, "Maximus, there's something I need to tell you." Maximus says, "What is it?" "Commandos told us you were dead." "Did he?" "Yes, but I knew it in my heart that you were still alive. And you know what that means? You're the true emperor." "I'm sorry, what did you say?" "You're the emperor." "It doesn't matter now. I have built another life here now. Why don't we stop by Saxonator's house and let me introduce you?" "Okay, if you say so. But you need to tell him that your place is in Rome as emperor." "We will see." The couple walked back to the village to see Saxonator, Roman and Troy. All five were in the house sat around the table, and Saxonator says, "Wait, you are the emperor of Rome and you never told us?" "Look here, I am everybody's hero and it's all thanks to you." "I know, of course you're the hero, but..." Roman says, "I didn't know you were the emperor before you came here." "That is incredible." "I used to be, but that was a while ago. Now things have changed for me. I have new friends here, and I am free to do as I please. Maybe it's best if Commandos remains as emperor. I don't think it is for the best. Please, could you all give us some time for a talk in private?" "Aye, sure, why not?" She took Maximus out the back door to have a discussion with him. She says, "Maximus, I really want you to come back home. Your sister Lucilla is missing you, and so am I." "What's wrong with her?" "She was treated poorly by Commandos." "What is happening? Is Commandos that bad at ruling?" "Maximus, we need you back home. You're the true emperor, and your people need you. Roxana, I already told you things are different for me now. I'm not the emperor. Commandos is." "He killed one of our family members." "What? Why?" "Because he said your name out loud." "Oh, that is not how an emperor should behave." "Are you sure the people will have me back as emperor?" "Yes. Under his rule, people are starving and the empire is in ruin, and Lucilla is made to suffer him." Maximus started to realize what would happen to his empire and Lucilla. He looked thoughtful and said, "Oh no. Oh no. I see what you mean. I must do something. Now you know that the empire needs you." "Yes, I do know. We could ask Saxonator, Roman and Troy to help us get back home. What do you think?" Roxana knew that they are his new friends and said, "Yes, I'm sure it'll be great if they can come along with us to help. Maximus says, alright, let's go ask them. The two of them ask the three friends to help restore Rome, and Saxonator says, are you sure you want us to help? Yes. Everyone in the city is suffering and starving. My brother is responsible for this mess, and he must be stopped. Also, he can't be emperor, because he is younger than me. That's why I need to go back. Do you really have to go back to Rome? It's great to have you around here. We can have haggis together with our good Scotty friend Saxonator. Yes, that would be good, but I think I should have haggis in Rome, if you don't mind. Oh, okay. We'll be happy to help you save your kingdom. I'm happy to help you too. Now, let's get some rest. Then we can set off first thing in the morning. Thank you all so much for offering help. And to you too, Maximus. No, thank you. And I love you. I love you too. Tomorrow will bring a new era. The sun rose over the horizon. Maximus got out of bed and stared at the sunrise deep in thought. He was ready to return home to become emperor again. He got dressed and seeing Roxana, he greeted her. Good morning, Roxana. Roxana says, looks like you're all ready to go home. Yes, I am. As soon as Saxon, Roman and Troy are ready, we can leave. I am so proud of you making the right choice. Everyone in Rome will be very happy. I think so. Then Saxonator entered the room. Good morning, lad and lass. I'm all ready for our journey today. Good morning, Saxonator. Let's go pick up Roman and Troy, shall we? Aye, Max, we'll do that. The two brothers woke and packed up their water bags and belongings for the journey. Troy opened the door to see Saxonator. Troy says, Good morning, Saxonator. Roman and I are ready to serve our emperor. That's right. We have prepared water bags for the journey, and here we have one for you. That's very kind of you. You're welcome, my Scot. Saxonator laughed heartfully at Roman for calling him his Scot. Saxonator says, Now let's head to the stables and prepare the horses. So at last, Maximus, Roxana, Saxonator, Roman and Troy set off with their horses to return back to Rome. After a while they arrived. When Maximus saw Rome, he was shocked. Rome already looked dull, and the people looked miserable, and they were starving. Maximus's eyes turned to fury, as he steeled himself to set things right. Roxana says, What's wrong, Maximus? Maximus says, I'm really not happy about what our home has become. This must end now. Roman says, So let me get straight. You are going to challenge your brother over this? Yes, this is my home, and I'm going to order him to give me back my throne. Ah, right. So what do we need to do first? The guards won't let us in. What are we to do? Saxonator had an idea, and he said, I've got plenty of haggis, so I could distract the guards by letting them have lunch. Maximus thought it was a good idea, that he could sneak past without being caught. Roxana thought it would be a good idea too. Saxonator, Roman and Troy walked towards the guards and called, Hey, who's hungry for haggis, and some mead with me and my friends? Troy says, Tonight, we dine in here. The guards could smell something good and decided to join in and enjoy the food. They all ate haggis together. Saxonator looked at Maximus and gave him a thumbs up, meaning he can go in through the doors. The guard says, This is delicious. Yes, I never had this kind of food before. I love it. So do we, good fellows. And the horses they rode drank water. Maximus and Roxana managed to sneak past a guard, and he said, Alright, Roxana, this is it. You go find my sister, and I'll look for commandos. Alright, well, good luck. They both split up and went separate ways. Maximus finally found his troubled brother, who was shouting their sister's name. Lucilla! Lucilla! Where are you? Lucilla! Where are you? Where are you? Maximus gasped. No! Then he saw Lucilla looking miserable as she walked to Commando's. Maximus felt sorrow for her. Yes, Commandos? I have something to tell you. It's about my name. Why, what do you mean, Commandos? I need a grand title, something more than just Emperor. I am calling myself Commandos the Great and Merciful. Merciful? What makes you merciful? Why are you asking me that stupid question? I do not think you are. Oh, really? Do you think I am not good enough to rule the country? Sit down! He forced Lucilla to sit on a chair so he could ask her one question. Am I not merciful? Am I not merciful to you? Lucilla started to cry with both fear and anger and said, You have no idea. Commando says, I'm the Emperor and I can do whatever I want, and you do whatever I command you to do, and that is final. You were not as a good ruler as Maximus was. Commandos was shocked and went into a rage. He grabbed her and said, I am more powerful than Maximus. Now you've gone too far. He drew his dagger and motioned to cut Lucilla's throat. Maximus was watching this display and shouted, Commandos! Commandos was shocked. Maximus, it can't be. Get away from her now! Lucilla was free and was so happy to see her brother. They both hugged and she said, Maximus, you're alive! It's a miracle. It's alright, Lucilla. I'm okay. And I'm home now. Commandos gave a cruel smile and said, Maximus, it's so good to see you again. And it looks like you are back from the grave. Maximus's eyes turned to anger. He looked at Commandos and said, Are you out of your mind? What have you done to Rome? Commandos says, I was doing a great job ruling the Empire. You destroyed everything for all of us. I want you to step down. I'd love to. I would give up my throne and crown if you defeat me in combat. Guards, set up the arena and chain that imposter up. The guards came and grabbed Maximus again. Lucilla says, No, please, no! Too late now, my sister. This time he will stay dead by my hand. The great arena was set up ready for the contest. The two brothers were underneath the arena. Commandos had Maximus's wrists cuffed with chains. He was planning to kill him with his men or by his own hand. So, your time has come. If you survive my gladiators, then you will face me in battle. I will not fight you, brother! You aren't my brother. Not anymore. Commandos, this is madness. Oh, really? When we rise up into the arena, I will announce to everyone that you were responsible to my father's death. If it weren't for you, he would still be emperor. But now because of you, he's dead. Father was a great person. I did not end his life. Well then, let's begin, shall we? So be it. The lift rose up into the arena. Commando says, People of Rome, I give you Maximus and his associates. Saxonator, Roman and Troy were also chained by the guards. The executioner cut the chains with his axe, freeing Maximus and his friends. Commando shouted, My gladiators, attack! Commandos' men rushed forward to do battle with Maximus. Maximus fought them off with his sword lunging and slashing. Saxonator says, Charge! Roman threw his axe at one of the gladiators, pinning him to the ground. Troy says, "Whee!" He spun in circles, wielding his mace, whacking any gladiators that came close. Saxonator attacked the soldiers with his sword and said, "Take that, you pathetic buffoons!" He, Roman and Troy cheered, giving each other high fives. They held hands and twisted them, yelling, "Inconjo!" Commandos could not believe it. His soldiers failed, and with his temper rising, he removed his crown, placing it on his throne, and joined the fray. He would kill Maximus himself. Commando says, "Congratulations, Maximus! You and your puny friends defeated my gladiators, but now it's our turn. But first, I will tell you a little secret." Commandos whispered in Maximus's ear, "I killed our father." Maximus was shocked. How could his brother kill his own father? It began to make sense. Commandos wanted to rule and needed Maximus out of the way. Maximus started to get angry and shouted, "You did this! How could you? Tell the people the truth!" Commando says, "But they believe that it was you that committed the crime." Maximus says, "I said tell the truth now!" Lucilla called, "Maximus, you didn't cause our father's death, did you?" Maximus said to Lucilla and the people, "No, all this is untrue. I am innocent. I am the one true emperor. My brother was just jealous, which is the reason he wanted to take my place. I have tried to help him, but I failed. Commandos had filled his heart with anger and hatred towards me. I care about my father, and I loved him so much. I can give Rome a better future as your emperor." Everybody started to realize that Maximus did not kill his father. With visions of a better Rome, they cheered him. Suddenly, seeing that Maximus was distracted, Commandos grabbed his dagger and he stabbed Maximus in the hip. Maximus cried, "Ah!" The audience gasped, and Commando says, "That will even the odds, brother. Now let's see who will be emperor, shall we?" Maximus felt a stabbing pain, and in a rage, he pulled out a dagger from his hip and dropped it on the ground as Commandos attacked him. The two brothers were fighting swords, slashing and stabbing. "You can't defeat me, Commandos! This is my empire, and it's all my destiny to rule!" They fought with their swords, and they fought some more. Commandos kicked Maximus and pinned his brother to the ground and said, "This is too easy. I have you now. Do your worst, Commandos." "Oh, yes, I will." "Good night, sweet brother." He raised up his sword, ready to thrust it into Maximus's chest him. Saxonator, seeing what was about to happen, quickly threw his dagger, stabbing Commandos in the back. Commandos dropped his sword, and he fell to the ground. Maximus got up and called to Saxonator, "You saved my life." Saxonator says, "I sure did. I didn't want to see him as emperor." The audience cheered for Maximus, the hero. The battle was over, and it's all thanks to his new friends Maximus would rule. Maximus told the rest of the people and Lucilla about his new friends. "We know each other! He's a friend who made me an awesome hero!" So at last, Maximus got his crown and throne back, and he got his wound stitched. He had been stabbed. Rome was finally back to normal. Food and wine were in plentiful supply for the people. They all thanked the emperor and his friends, knowing that they would prosper and never go hungry again. Maximus saw all the happy people in the streets. It made him smile. "This is all thanks to me." Roxana came to see him and told him something. "Hello, my emperor. This is so amazing. Your return has made everyone happy." "I know. Isn't it wonderful?" "Yes, and Maximus, there is something else I have to tell you." "What is it?" "I'm pregnant. Maximus was overjoyed. Really? Yes, you're going to be a father. Oh, Roxana, it's amazing. They both had a gentle hug. They couldn't wait to see their baby arrive, and then planned to have maybe 2 or 3. Several years later, Maximus and Roxana were sitting on the throne room with their children Fergus, Bessie, and Maximus Jr. They also had Lucilla, Saxonator, Roman, Troy, and their advisors, joined by Pontificus, who was a childhood friend of Maximus. Pontificus says, "Thank you for having me as your advisor, your majesty. I'm sorry to hear what happened to Demetrius." Maximus says, "Thank you. He is a sad loss." Saxonator says, "Maximus, when your children grow up, I could teach one of them to be a great warrior and hero." "That's a good idea, Saxonator. Maybe Fergus, as he was my firstborn." Lucilla says, "I'm proud of you, Maximus." Maximus, Roxana, Fergus, Bessie, and Maximus Jr. were standing on the balcony looking out at a view of Rome. Once again, everything was all peaceful and the people were happy. Well, that was a great read-along. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'll be telling you a story about a beautiful mermaid. Thanks again for watching, and have a good night.